Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich Ukraine. Let us continue on from where we at last left off. So we have declared ourselves to be the wonderful Ukrainian People's Republic. I'm not too sure when the election is going to actually occur. It's definitely going to happen for November 1940. That is, hey, speak of the devil and he shall appear. The 1937 general election. As the unrest following the anti-Hetman revolt slowly clears, a new democratic way of life begins to settle in Ukraine. Once a reactionary authoritarian state, Ukraine now stands proud as a paragon of democracy and republicanism. It is no understatement then that in the 1937 general election is going to be an important one. Simon Pelotruya announced the election to be on the dawn of the 21st of February 1937. And by the evening, dozens of parties have already declared their intent to participate. Among all the participants, three stand out as the most influential ones: the Ukrainian Radical Democratic Party, the Ukrainian Social Democratic Workers' Party, and the alliance of radical socialists known as the Workers' Democratic Union. Unlike the Shoam, the new Republican Parliament will play a crucial role in the country's politics, and as such, this election is largely going to decide the course it will take in the reforged Ukrainian state. On the surface, the former participants of the now obsolete VDR may espouse similar rhetoric, but they have all had their own goals and agendas. Each party is a vastly different plan for the nation, and each candidate has a vastly different vision for the future. However, the Ukrainian parliamentary system may just force them to compromise on these ideals. In order to win the election, they will have to find like-minded allies in the National Assembly, a task which is easier said than done. They cannot hope to secure a majority themselves, and will need trusted allies if they want to reform Ukraine to their liking. A coalition, therefore, will most definitely be formed, and who constitutes it entirely depends on about how the election will go. Again, we want to go for the Social Liberals, who is led by Alexander Shulgin, which is not you. But yeah, we want to go for, you'll play the 1937 election as the URDP and receive appropriate events. While the aim is to have a plurality, we will likely be forced to consolidate with the USDRP should we win. Perhaps during the election season, we should ensure that they are not completely sidelined so that we can have an amicable relationship with them later. And then vice versa if we decide to go for the Social Democrats. And then the left wing. If they are stay in power, then the syndicalist revolution will be impossible. Again, we don't want that at all. So we're going to go with the URDP. We should have our election. It's going to take 149 days. Currently, it is too close to call. And I do not want to ease up a conscription quite yet. Okay, Bulgaria. I want to help you win. And it seems like the easiest point here will be to just take Belgrade. It doesn't look like there's any actual troops there, which should make our life significantly easier. In search of a common platform, as the new elections of the National Zobri were announced, parties quickly began announcing their bids for power. While minor parties grouped the electoral blocks, major ones like the USDRP or the URDP decided to run alone. This raises the question within circles of the Workers' Democratic Union that used to be the coalition with the USDRP. While some members of the RRB wanted to rebuild the pact with the USDRP, the majority of the UPSR preferred to turn to a more radical option, the Borobist. Unfortunately for them, the USPRB outright refused, not wanting to take part in a bourgeois elections. Afterwards, the UPSR and the RRB decided to run regardless as the Workers' Democratic Union. Since the announcement, the USDRP leadership reached out to the RDS, negotiating a possible alliance and even signaling a possible government. What no one knew was that the whole RDS Borobis ordeal was monitored by the USDRP. With such information in their files, they have a potential hook on the RDS, which could also be used against the Borobis, portray them as enemies of the new system and not trustworthy allies. Germany has accepted the extradition request. The German government has agreed, and Soroponchik will be arrested and accused of various high crimes. He'll be sent to Ukraine shortly to stand trial and answer the Ukrainian people for his deeds. Okay, where's my troop? Will you not go here like a little faster? Please? Maybe there's no like railroad, I'm not too sure. Okay, French assistance in the Workers' Democratic Union. Contacts between the International and the Workers' Democratic Union have been few and far between since the latter's earlier exile. But with the election now coming up, the more official talks can officially begin. Conversely, the French have offered to assist the Union with funding and campaigning for the election. Also, hopefully the music's not a little too loud. The song feels very loud. Naturally, the resistance will come with some implications. While Germany may be Ukraine's protector now, the tides may shift if the socialist forces in the West are able to make good on the promise of one day toppling a German hegemon. Okay, RDS is going to gain some popularity. The question of defense. Amidst the election, the German ambassador Johann von Weschleck requested a memorandum on Ukraine's stance on national defense from the provisional chairman Petruria. In a statement, von Weschleck assured that Germany will respect Ukrainian democracy, but requests assurances that defense cooperation between the two countries will continue as previously agreed upon, and implied that some parties might not take national defense as seriously as others. It is an obvious quip against Verchenko. He pointed out that in times of trouble, nations need reliable moderates like Petruria instead of idealists attached from reality. These kinds of veiled German interventions are now rare in the politics of Eastern Europe, and the message was clear. The Workers' Democratic Union does not enjoy Germany's trust. While this does not bother most of their voters, quite the contrary, it does provide other parties with ammunition targeted undecided voters. After all, whatever one might think of Germany, their continued friendship is what keeps Russia at arm's length and the Ukrainian nation economically running. Still, the question remains on how much we should emphasize national security. It is not the most important issue among voters, and perhaps being too open about it may upset our coalition partners. But in this day and age, where Russian revanchism is rising, who can say no to a promise of keeping Ukraine safe and independent? I would like to gain party popularity for ourselves. Currently, the URDP and the RS are tied. Likely election result is a tie between us and the Radical Socialist. There, can you please go towards Belgrade? Land reform and industrialization. As the state finally recovers from Black Monday and the nation recovers from the Civil War, we can now begin the great land reform and industrialization projects. Throughout its existence, the Hetmanate consistently failed to deliver its promises of land reform efforts, illustrating why the Republican uprising was necessary in the first place. But we are different. We have overthrown the Hetman and his cronies promising power to the people, and it is time that we deliver. The real work begins now. Do we have any actual options here for you? Not right now. You are all 85 political power, which you just do not have. So this is for land reform. You are for industrialization, which also needs a lot of political power, which again, I don't have. We taken 2 times. It's so basically we trade 10% party popularity for the social liberals for 50 political power to get one of these things done. We're getting 0.5 per day, which is not too bad, honestly, but it looks like we have about 2 years to get this done. We have the time. Okay, so yeah, let's move our way to Belgrade. I don't know if that's going to capitulate Serbia immediately, but it's definitely not going to look good for them. So Serbia. You are this war. Serbia is down to 15%, so Serbia should capitulate. Excellent. See, that's exactly what we want. Now the Bulgarians and the Albanians, they can go do some other stuff in the meantime. Let's move you here now down towards Greece. We can move you to the red line. That seems okay. And we're still missing a bung tungsten. I'm not worried about that singular tungsten. At least not right now. We're going to get some stability here. And the political power, which is very, very nice. More stability, more war support. Land reform score changed by +3. You know what? Sounds good to me. Is there actually a number we want to get this to? That's land reform. I don't know what number this current... Okay, it says right underneath it. I'm stupid. 90. 90 for the best. Every score past 90 is 5 political power. Decisions will remain available even after the mission has run its course, though they would be more costly. So we want 90. 90 for the best. Okay. Good to know. The fate of General Brodowski. As we reorganize our armed forces, there is one particular issue that we must deal with. The fate of General Brodowski. Brodowski was a noted Hetman loyalist, a member of the SHD, and is rather infamous for his efforts for defeating the peasant uprising in 1919. Not to mention one of the Hetman's top generals facing against our forces in the anti-Hetman revolt. However, most of our military recognize his expertise, and if rehabilitated, he could serve well in the armed forces. Indeed, among the Hetman's forces, he is rather palatable, especially in comparison to the likes of Ivan Polet Ostrania. We could either have him retire from military affairs and live the rest of his life in private, or welcome back to the military, though likely will cause some opposition. Yes, get him the hell out of here. We will get ourselves a new general. Who's in charge of yellow right now? Because I did see this man does have a great beard. I know that's not necessarily the most important thing when it comes to not the most important thing necessarily when it comes to military expertise, but I mean it seems a little important, at least a little bit. Promises to the people. Land reform may be a matter of the people's livelihood, but that does not mean our industrialization plans are not a factor in the election. Quite the opposite, in fact. The intelligentsia and elite have looked at our to an industrial Ukrainian future, a modernized Ukrainian economy that will be able to weather the storm in the future because they can export more than just grain. Grand engineering projects like the Dnieper hydroelectricity project will bring electricity to many Ukrainian homes, and there's no doubt that these designs are popular. Perhaps we should even take advantage of these designs and promise to bring them about as part of our electoral campaign. Some among the party think that the reminding population about the utter failure of Hetman's industrialization projects might rally additional support for us. After all, we are here to right the wrongs of the 18 years of negligence and incompetence. After 300 days after the election, we will need to watch the industrial score to have it above 40. 15 political power. Let's gain more popularity for ourselves. Likely is currently in a URDP-led coalition. I am happy to see that. In the Second American Civil War. Okay, it's a three-way civil war. You don't see that too often nowadays. Canada has taken New England. We'll kind of see how that plays out. Again, the three-way it's less likely. So I'm not really actually too sure how to necessarily evaluate it. But we do want. I mean, you seem pretty good. 80 political power, get that done. How long will that take? It's going to take 120 days. That's fine. It's going to be 2 civilian factories, 1 military factory, and we get 5 points of score. I am happy to have it. Also, I don't think I actually want you guys down here. I want. Trying to see what makes most sense for our division here. Yeah, let's move you up north. Romania is a bigger threat than Greece. I don't think Greece is able to actually push their way into Bulgaria in any meaningful way. The question of land reform. Land for all. That was a oh, don't hit my microphone. That was a promise that had rallied the peasants to support the VDR against the Hetman. While every party is definitely taking it seriously, it's the socialists and social democrats who make it the main focus of their campaigns. It's hard to compete with their wild promises, so some of the parties just keeping our rhetoric on the question reasonable and cautious. This is not the last election. Broken promises and popular disappointment won't improve our future political prospects. Still, some propose a more aggressive approach. At the very least, we should remind the people that during all those years, while our opponents were busy with useless debates in the live coffee houses, we were hard at work here, fighting tooth and nail for land redistribution. So now, without resistance from the landowners' lobby and stubbornness from the Hetmanate, we can put our experience of use and finally bring to the people long-anticipated justice. Gain more popularity. Move 70 days from land reform. You know what? We'll keep this at a nothingness for now, because I don't want the Social Democrats to hate us, for the obvious reason that we might need them for the coalition. Trial of the Hetman. The number of charges is enormous. Ordering murders, torture, and imprisonment of peasants and workers of Ukraine from 1919. 2 decades of oppressive measures. And ordering mass executions during the Ukrainian Revolution in 1936. A well-prepared list of charges was politically motivated, but genuine. Blood was on the Hetman's hands. In Skoropadsky's defense, he argued that everything he did was to protect the legal order of Ukraine and its democracy. In a surprisingly emotional speech, he assured that he only ever had the welfare of all Ukrainians in mind, and that the charges, some of which he admits as being true and necessary, are a mere sham, as they were not illegal when they were committed, and had been unconstitutionally declared only after the fact. In the end, he is still guilty. The only question is what of the punishment. So 6% stability, more support for social conservatives, or 25 political power. Obviously, 6% stability is way better than 25 political power, but I also don't want to give more support for the socialist. So you know what? Let us do a little bit of leniency. We will not. I like the stability. The social conservatives, I'm not really that concerned about. And again, I don't want the socialists getting more power than they have to. 108 days until our election. What makes sense for these guys to go? Maybe near push your way up north. So you don't actually. Yeah, let's delete this. I'm gonna move you here instead. Is this France again? No, Norway. Norway, what the hell are you doing? Okay then. Those fucking freaks. What are they? What are you up to? The URDP under scrutiny. The existence of the People's Republic is largely owed to the Radical Democratic Party. One of the party leaders, Alexander Schulin, took great efforts during the anti-Hetman revolt to ensure that Berlin did not intervene to crush the revolution. I've been in talks with the German government almost from the beginning. The party also hosts the well-known Vasil Vashivanji, who has come to be seen as a man of the people despite his Austrian origins. For the upcoming election, the Radical Democratic Party could be seen as the most right-wing compared to the Social Democrats and the Workers' Democratic Union, which has earned them a great goodwill among those of the previous administration. Yet their ties to Hetmanate have come under the fire recently by their opponents. It is well known that Schulin worked with the Hetman's government as foreign minister, and that the URDP, though representing the opposition to the ruling Hetman's coalition, still held various positions. One could pass this off as attempting to work within the system to improve it, something that the URDP is clearly trying to do. Nonetheless, the socialist parties have weaponized the party's history to paint them as either being unprincipled or, at worst, traitors to the revolution. What shall their response be? Our past matters not. No, we stand for democracy. Of course we stand for democracy. You fools? Oh, how could you insinuate that I am not for this revolution? Yeah, little freaks. Okay. Excavation 1. It is 37 right now. You know what? I'm going to use my research bonus here. I know it's a little ahead of time still, but I think this works out for us. More stability, more political power. So let's go with you next. We'll go with the clamping down on bureaucratic corruption. So what are we at now? We're at 3 and like 8? 13 already. You know what? That's actually not bad. And that's actually going to get up to 18 soon. The industrialization is going very, very well. Okay, Moscow Accord, the Russian threat. Russia's decade of long slump has ended, and now the Russians are rebuilding already. They raise claims over their former imperial territories in Eastern European states are surely going to be one of their targets. To be sure that the Russian threat is contained in Eastern European states can defend their sovereignty, leaders and generals of the Oststaaten have gathered in Riga to discuss their program of mutual cooperation. A joint military defense fund has been established, and Riga has been entrusted in managing the funds to fund the region's joint defense ventures. Yeah, so Riga... Unfortunately, we did lose Estonia and Latvia. They might still join us. Political power gain. I will join it. We're mostly probably going to be giving weapons to other factions, but I still think it works for us. Formation of the UNP. Following the restoration of the Ukrainian People's Republic, the Ukrainian right has been thrown into a difficult situation. Attempts to build a proper rightist force, one that can adapt to new political consciousness, has mostly gone awry. Most of the ideological-minded Hetman forces have been almost totally pushed out, whereas the more non-partisan independent statesmen that have worked under Hetman's regime are finding it difficult to re-enter politics. Perhaps that chance for the right comes from someone who does not fit either of these descriptions. Mykola Mikhonovsky. After leaving the UDKHP, Mikhonovsky decided to found his own party, the UNP, the Ukrainian People's Party. And the UDKHP now in the tailspin, the door has been left open for the UNP to become the largest party of the Ukrainian right. It will certainly be more populous than any of the whole Hetmanist parties. For the URDP, the UNP's slow rise gives away to an important question. Much of the UNP's rhetoric has been directed at the socialist parties, and particularly the RDS. And though the party is quite small, Mikhonovsky's influence may be just enough to hurt her opponents. Tolerating UNP's rise, at least in the short term, is not out of the question. However, the right wing of our party has advocated against this, as they see this as a direct challenge to their power and influence, especially in appealing to the up-and-coming small and middle landowner classes. The URDP could certainly do more to attract political moderates, and we could more easily take on a potential conservative resurgence in the future. So this is for social conservatism. We will lose, so the right wing loses influence. No. I want bring in more moderate members. Right now, our total party is 31%, because again, we do have the market liberals. They are the right wing of the party. So the coalition, I mean, it still looks like it's going well. I can't really make any breakthrough, though, with this. With my singular infantry division, unsurprisingly, I can't just break my way through. How many volunteers could I send to you? Another troop? You know what? Yeah, why not? Let's send one more division. We'll send them to Albania for now. There you go. You guys go have fun over there. and the history of Ukraine Rus. The final tome of Mikhailo Horozhensky's History of the Ukrainian Rus, covering the events from 1657 to 1658, has been published today. Horozhensky's 10-volume treatise has become a magnum opus and comprehensive history of Ukraine. Horozhensky's work has been crucial for the conceptualization of the Ukrainian historical process as continuous and independent from the all-Russian historical narrative. Some analysts have tended to assign Horozhensky as a populist tendency of Ukrainian historiography, which emphasizes the critical role of the masses in its conceptual representation of the past. The school of thought is usually contrasted with the statist tendency, most notably represented by Vyacheslav Lipinski, Stefan Tomganshi, and... Okay, sorry. I'm getting a phone call. Stefan Tomovsky and Dmytro Doroshenko have a focus on the role of national elites in the state-building process. This claim that Horozhensky's analysis lies in the particular school of thought is perhaps rather misleading, given that his works are based on a quite broad intellectual foundation, but they've also found a special place among the Ukrainian Republican movement, rather unsurprisingly given the critical role that Horozhensky has played in the establishment of the Ukrainian People's Republic in 1917. With many subscribing to the historical narrative Horozhensky has put forth, the coming of the final volume has especially been celebrated by the pro-Republican Austro-Ukrainian Friendship Association, which has sought to finance and print an entire 10-volume edition in order to celebrate the occasion. And you know what? I think I'll appreciate that little 10 political power there. But I would say that at least right now, I think it's been a good time for us to end this episode. If you enjoyed, thumbs up. Want to see more? Subscribe. Don't want to see more? Thumbs down and leave the channel forever. Have a good day and goodbye.